Right, today we are going to learn about trigo functions that involve multiple angles. Okay, so the next example, we will see cases where there is a number in front of the angle, and we see how we can actually continue to solve it. All right, so like for instance, this question here, solve 2 sine 2x minus 1. So there's a 2 in front of the x. So we are going to try to solve for between 0 and 360. Okay, so the first thing, we will just write the original equation. And then we are going to bring the negative 1 over, or the minus 1 over. And we want to try to isolate the sine function on the left. All right, so we are going to divide both sides by 2. And now we have a single trigo function that is on the left-hand side. Okay, when we have a single trigo function, then this is where it's easier for us to find what we call the reference angle. Okay, so down here, you also have to understand that now, right, since we are supposed to be solving for 2x, we will have to double everything from the original range that we the domain that we're supposed to have. So instead of 0 to 360, we times 2 for all. So it's between 0 and 720 for the angle. So any angle that falls between 0 and 720, we will accept them. All right? Okay, so next, when we want to solve, we have to determine the quadrants. So since half is actually a positive value and sine is positive in quadrants 1 and 2. All right? So we are going to get our answers in quadrant 1 and 2. Now, next, we are going to do the inverse sine to get the reference angle. So inverse sine half will actually be 30. So that's our reference angle. So what we're going to do is that using this reference angle, we are going to get the relevant quadrants. So in quadrant 1, it will be 30, exactly the same. In quadrant 2, we are going to use 180 minus the reference angle of 30, and you get 150. So this will be our first two answers. Okay, now remember, we can go all the way until 720, right? Because it's a 2x, means it's actually going around twice. So what we can do is that with the first two answers that we have, we can go another round, which is to add 360 to each of the answers that we had earlier on. So for quadrant 1, it was 30, so we add 360. Quadrant 2, the answer was 150, we add another 360. So these four angles are the ones for 2x. Now you can try to add another 360, but you will realize it will be out of the 720 limit, all right? Remember, you do not divide the reference angle, okay? You have to use the reference angle to find the four possible angles, because this is a 2x, so you have four possible, and because we are using up to 360, so you use it as it is first. After that, to get x, all right, then the next thing you have to do is to divide them by 2, and that is how you get your x answer. All right, so remember, do not divide your reference angle. Use it as it is to get your quadrant 1, quadrant 2, the next quadrant 1, and the next quadrant 2. These are answers for 2x. Finally, you divide everything by 2, and that's how you get the final answer for your x.